Okay, should be pretty much good. Okay, great. So we're going to go into the Heilige Beis Yaakov. Is this Hashem? It's going to open. Come on. Oh, okay. So we left off yesterday with this notion of Shamayim and Aretz. So this is Heilige Beis Yaakov. V'zehu plugsas Beis Shammai Beis Hillel. This is this argument between Beit Shammai and Beis Hillel. Im Shamayim nivru tchila, im Aretz nivreis tchila. Because in Perek Aleph of Bereshis, it says Bereshis bara Elokim as a Shamayim, that's Aretz, and Shamayim comes first. Then later on Perek Beis, it says Eile Toldos Shamayim va'aretz behi baram. It puts Shamayim before Aretz. So which one came first? He's saying this is the same argument that we said yesterday. Is it which one is primary? Which one starts the process? Is it the mind or is it the heart? Once again, the heart represents the earth and the mind represents the sky. And so in terms of what we perceive, it's the sky that when you look at the process of rain, that's what you most think of as water coming down. But the truth is, in a hidden way, water also goes up. And which is saying, ultimately, it's the heart that is the beginning. But what we see is the Shemayim, right? So this says, so in this sense, Beis Hillel, and this is generally, there's a whole sikha from Lubavitcher Rebbe about this, about Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai, that generally speaking, Beis Hillel looks at the actual, and Beis Shammai looks deeper into the sort of potential, or the sort of hidden level. This is most obvious in their argument about how to light the Chanukiah. Do you do it according to the actual days that you've arrived at, or according to a number of days that are yet to come, right? So for Beis Shammai, the first night is 8, and then you go down 7, 6, 5, 3, 1. For Beis Hillel, we do like Beis Hillel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. Fine. So he just leaves that as just a kind of an aside that this is their argument. And this is when the Torah tells us the earth will rest. It doesn't just mean the physical earth. The heart on the Shemitah year is such a gewalt. The heart will find the deepest peacefulness. Ki yakiru v'yiru, because everyone is going to recognize and see. Ki b'kol hasfekos, all the doubts that they ever had about their whole life. So it's like one of these gewaldik chassidish toirelach. B'chol hasfekos are haynim alahem shem nivdal m'shem yisbarach. All the different ways I feel like, I'm not connected to Hashem in this way and in that way. I have all these loose threads. I have all this, indecision. I have all decisions I think maybe were the wrong decision. And all of that, all the doubt, all the confusion in my life, through which I feel, it seems to me that I've become separated from Hashem. On Shemitah, we recognize the heart becomes totally settled. Hakol hu me'eis Hashem yisbarach. The whole thing, the whole story itself, with all of the confusions, are all mamish directly from Hashem. Asher hichnisam bezeh bechavana. Hashem put us into these situations and into the doubts and into everything we've ever had to go through. It was all on purpose. We were not just left to the wind, chas v'shalom, and like maybe we're connected, maybe we're not, maybe. All of the confusions are totally on purpose. Because it's through navigating all these different things you've ever gone through in life that we actually add kavod shemayim. Just closing the door. The kids are making a little noise. I'm going to add kavod shemayim. Moshe Kasu va'azar'em bagoyim. The pasuk in Zechariah Perek Yud. Hashem says, "I will plant them amongst the nations." Shehu kamo ziri'ah, that we've been planted, mamish like planting of trees. Kadeshi yatzmiach, and that means all of the foreignness, not just the foreign actual countries we're in, but the foreignness of our being all in all the situations of doubts and ups and downs of life were for the sake of growth. Kadeshi Yatzmiach. The Iker Hasafek Hurak Lifnei Ha'adam. And the fact that we feel like in doubt and in confusion, that is only for us. Aval Eitzel Hashem Yisbarach, but by Hashem, Lo Nikra Zeh Shum Safek. By Hashem, for Hashem's perspective, this is this is not called that. Oh, maybe Laban will make it, maybe he won't. And just he's left to the wind, and who knows what it'll be. Hashem Yisbarach Roeh. Hashem can see from the beginning. He sees right now. Yisrael Yevararu Atzmam, that we will. Now, this word levarer is a big Ishbitz word. We will clarify ourselves. That we will. Basically reveal the honor of Hashem that we're sent to reveal. V'yotziu misham kvod shamayim. Achar ki be'emes nimtza b'kol makon kvod shamayim. Because the real depth of the truth is that there is divine honor in every situation and everything we go through. V'zeh more milas asher ani noten lachem. I hear the Ishbitzer does an amazing thing. With the word ani, right? So the pasuk says, "V'shavta aretz Shabbos Hashem," that when you come to the land, right? When you come to the land that I am giving to you, right? Asher ani noten lachem, the pasuk says, then you're going to have a Shabbos. The earth will have a Shabbos, because there's two words for ani in Hebrew. There's ani, and there's anochi, right? Ki anochi, and this is a gevalt. Anochi, and there's a big Torah like this from his father, the Meshiloyach, Mordechai Yosef mi Ishbitz. Anochi hu makor. The word anochi is a source. Shenovea b'chol pam chadashos. It's like a spring. It's always giving off new aspects. His father, the Meshiloch, said, Anochi is ke ani. It's a gevalt thing that, like on Har Sinai, Hashem's basically saying, I'm something like this. There's more. It's a beginning of a flow, Anochi, and it's always novea. It's always bubbling forth each time something new. Every time there's a new understandings. But because it's on the one hand, the flow is a gewalt. We want more and more and more. But the thing is, when that's all there is, and God is this like way I experience God is just this constant, mysterious newness again and again, the heart is not totally at peace with that. We need process, but we also need like a firm sense of Hashem in an unchanging kind of a way. So there's not yet total repose and serenity. Because in order to relate to the newness, there's some degree of doubt, there's some degree of not yet understanding, of not yet knowing. So Anochi, in this way, because it's like a flowing name of being, it still contains an aspect of having to enter into doubt. But Ani, that's a whole different thing. Ani is the stronger, they're both strong, they're both important. It's not like Anochi is discarded. There's always going to be newer and newer levels. But we also need Ani. The Ani of Hashem is when every Yid will come to fully reach their specific level, what their neshama is about, what they've acquired in this world. Like it happened by Abraham, that after the test, his last test, after the binding of Isaac, after Keres Yitzchak, Nikra etzlo Hashem Yisbarach Ani. At that point, Hashem gets called Ani. V'zeh asher ani nosein lachem. When you come to the land that I am giving you, v'shavsa aretz Shabbos Lashem, then you're going to have this amazing experience called shemittah, where we're going to experience, like we said before, that which really its full revelation is in the future. The ani, the total peacefulness, each person being in their place in the deepest way. This is something that is a Mashiach kind of a thing. Like he spent a lot of lines on yesterday and on Thursday. Asher ani nosein lachem v'shavs ha'aretz Shabbos l'Hashem v'hainu shmita. V'she amar kasuv, and this is the meaning of the pasuk Katilim, Hashemayim shamayim l'Hashem. We say it in Hallel. The heavens are the heavens of God. Ve'aretz nasan livnei Adam. The earth Hashem gives us, that doesn't just mean the physical earth. It means He will give us one day fully, and next year as a kind of a shining from there, He gives us our hearts. The haaretz nasan livnei Adam. In Yiddish, the word for a heart is hearts. Hearts. So haaretz nasan livnei Adam. The hearts nasan livnei Adam. Hashem gives us our hearts. Okay. Up until now, we've been talking about shemittah. Now he's going to introduce the idea of the Yovel, which is yet a deeper level of this. The Yesh Gam Ken Yovel. There is also the Jubilee Year, the 50th year. Shehu Kamosh Amar Kasuv Ki Li Kol Haaretz. On the one hand, there's the Ani Notein Lachem. There's Ani, that sense of solidity, that sense of unchanging godliness that's just there for us in a total, secure, amazing way. That's very, very important. Anochi is also a Gevalt. The flowing new understandings is also, but we need the unchanging, reliable, loyal presence of Hashem in our life. We need that too. We need it very much. That's like the ground. And literally it's the ground, because that's what it means. Asher ani notein lachem, we come to the Aretz, the land that I am giving you. It means I'm giving you in your heart that total serenity of knowing that everything you've ever gone through, everything you ever will go through is not a maybe. It's all a direct thing, directly from Hashem, and it's all in order to reveal Hashem. It gives us tremendous, like we said before, like wind beneath our wings, while we are yet in the world of free choice, where we have to navigate, and like we said from the beginning of the Torah, deal with winds that try to blow us off course from the left and from the right, from within us and from without us. We have to be responding all the time, and it feels very unsure, like a ship at sea. But on Shemitah, we get this incredible energy from Hashem of Ani, not Anochi, not Ke Ani. Ani, here I am. I'm with you. I've always been with you. In everything you've ever been through, nothing you've done has ever separated you from me. I'm with you completely. This amazing thing. And Hashem is giving us the Aretz in this year, which means He's giving us total peacefulness of the heart. The Shabbos, the Aretz will have a Shabbos, total, incredible ability to find our intrinsic and inherent sense of self, and relating directly, so to speak, to God's self, knowing we're an extension of that. And now, that's called the Aretz Asher Ani Nosein Lachem V'Shavta Aretz Shabbos L'Shem. The land that I give to you, the heart that I'm giving to you, will have a Shabbos. And then there's another level. V'yesh gam ken yovel shu kmo she'amar kasuv ki li kol haaretz. On the one hand, we say Hashem gives us the land, right? The heavens are the heavens of God, and the earth has been given to Bnei Adam. That's Shemitah. But Yovel is an even higher place. That the earth is not even ours; it's God's. It's the earth itself is God's. Our hearts belong to Hashem. V'hainu she'Hashem yisbarach mareh la'adam. What happens a Yovel year? is that Hashem shows the human being. Even all the work that we did to navigate and deal with confusions and struggle, none of it was our own power, really. All that we really had the whole way through was really just our davening. But our strength to handle anything, our strength to really make a difference in the world, all of that was really all Hashem. The only thing that's kind of, so to speak, ours is our davening. And he's going to continue to explain all of this. This is going to be a very important theme in the next bunch of days that we're going to keep learning, which is that shemittah, the Shabbos of shemittah, with that amazing place of knowing that everything we've ever gone through and all our confusions are all directly from Hashem, and Hashem is with us in them, and giving us that inner peace of the heart, an intrinsic sense of self. All of that is in order to help us get to the level called Yovel. It's still not the kind of final place. It's all of that is to help us to get to the place of Yovel. And he's going to be talking a lot about this dynamic of how through Shemitah we can reach Yovel. It says, "Ulezenichtav zuha parsha sof kol Toras Kohanim." This is why Parshas Bahar, it's the second to last parsha in Sefer Vayikra, which the name for Vayikra is also called Toras Kohanim because the laws of the Kohanim make up the vast majority of the book. And many times Bahar and Bechukosai, the last two parshiyos, are read as one. So it's like it's one of the last topics in the book of Vayikra is this topic of Shemitah and Yovel. Laharos Afsha Adam, and it's the book about Avoda. It's the book about all the Avoda Beis Hamikdash to show us that even though we do our service of Hashem with great clarity, to the point where Hashem gives us the earth, where Hashem gives us that Shemitah, even though it's like, okay, Gewalt, look, I'm doing it, and now here I am, I'm desisting from my work on the Shemitah year, and I'm receiving this Gewaldic light, and it seems like it's thanks to what I did in the 6 years previous, just like on the 6 days of the week. We work well, we're honest, we're strong, we daven, we prepare for Shabbos, and we get a good Shabbos like Gewalt. Here we go. The Shabbos is the reward for everything I've done, and it's commensurate to what I did. That even though to a person it seems like it's okay, I did my work, and now Hashem's answering me with giving me this, the aretz, giving me my heart. Af al picha, and even so, tzarich achar kach od lehispal Hashem yisbarach. We're not done yet. We still mamish need to daven. And that's why after Parshas Bahar, the very last Parsha in Vayikra is Bechukosai, where the Torah says, "And it shall be if you will walk in my statutes." We're not going to be able to today get to the bottom of what he's saying here in terms of Yovel and what Tefillah is, but we'll spend more time in it tomorrow's Hashem. But this idea is that Parshas Bechukosai, the Mefarshim are saying, Hashem Yisbarach Gam Ken Mispalel, right? Hashem himself is saying, if you will follow in my rules. And the Midrashim are saying Hashem is, so to speak, asking and almost davening. The Gemara says that Hashem davens. Because there's based filasam, it doesn't say our house of prayer, their house of prayer. Lo nemar ela based filasi, Hashem's own house of prayer. That Hashem himself davens. And the Gemara says, Amar Rav Zutra Bar Tuvi Amar Rav, what is he actually, what's Hashem's nusach? What does he actually say? Is it, Hiratzon milfanai, may be my will before me, sheyichbeshu rachamai es kasai, that my love should conquer my anger, v'yagolu rachamai v'desai, and let my love win over all my other traits, and my mercy. V'zehu im bechukosai, im is Shalashon Imhu Tefillah, as the Medrash says, the Medrash Toras Kohanim, beginning of Parshas Bechukosai, Im Bechukosai Chomalamet Shamakom Misave Sheisrael Yamelim V'Torah. The teachers of Hashem is just wishing and hoping, and it's just saying, davening, that we should be toiling in Torah. Echenu Omar Lush Ameh Shomeali, Lu Ami Shomeali, that we say in the Tehillim of I think Thursday. If only my people would listen to me. If only. Balkein Nemru Zu Shnei HaParshas Achartos Kohanim Laharos Shel Adam Achar Klavraso Eino Ela Koch HaTefillah. So why do we have Bahar with the laws of Shemitah and Yovel, and then Bechukasai, which is about Hashem's davening at the end of the book of Vayikra, is to teach us that after everything we've done, all our great service, all that's left within us is the power to daven. Eino ela koach hatfila, and the power to daven is very, very amazingly profound thing, because my davening is an aspect of Hashem's davening. We'll just end with this, that the Berditchever, the Reb Yitzchak Berditchev said an incredible thing. He said, why is it that the 13 attributes of mercy, which we're going to start saying, so the Sfardim are already saying Slichas, we're going to start saying the Motzei Shabbos before Rosh Hashanah, we're going to start saying the 13 attributes, Hashem, Kel Rachum V'Chanun Erech Apayim, right? So when Hashem taught them to Moshe, the Midrash says Hashem put on a talis and davened them. And to the Berditchever, Blev Yitzchak Berditchever, Skusir Ganalena said, why did Hashem do that? Put on the talis and show us what the mitzvah looks like. We don't see that Hashem did that with any other mitzvah. And he says it's because this is what it means to actually daven the 13 attributes, is we also have to daven so deeply that it's God davening to God. We have to daven so amazing. That's why Hashem showed Moshe by Hashem saying it, saying that's the only way to do it. Because when you daven so deeply that it's me saying it, that the peace, the veritable peace of God that is within you, that is your soul, you have to get to that incredible place of tefillah, and that's what Yovel is about. And it's, as we're going to see in coming days and weeks, it's an even higher level than giving everything over and desisting from work on Shemitah, is the Yovel year, where we tune into the depths of the depths, that all we have is our davening, and our davening itself is Hashem's davening. So this is I know it's a bit mysterious at this point, but we'll continue tomorrow, and we'll mamish go deeper and deeper into this Indian of Yovel, Bez Hashem. Any questions or thoughts before we move into the halacha? Okay, so now we're moving into, we spoke yesterday about weeding. Today we're going to look at clearing away rocks, or building things with rocks. And we're going to begin and hopefully cover most of the issue of potted plants on Shemitah, and also greenhouses. So one is not allowed to clear their garden, their earth, from stones on Shemitah. This is a rabbinic prohibition because it looks like you're getting ready to plow. It looks like you're preparing it to be able to be planted. However, if you need stones, like we said before about needing the wood for your sukkah, or if you need stones in order to build a little path or to build a stone, then you can gather rocks, so long as you don't have kavana to make the earth better for things to grow there. And it also has to be clear to the onlooker that you're not doing it for the sake of making things grow better. Those are the two things that we constantly are encountering, that your kavana is not for the sake of things growing better, and if someone watches you do it, they won't think you're doing it to make things grow better. So how would that apply here? For instance, if you're standing right next to wall, and you're taking stones from the ground and putting it on the wall to build up the wall. Anyone who looks can see that you're picking up stones to build that wall, right? Or if you're taking only the stones that are on top of other stones, but you're leaving the stones that are actually directly on the earth, anyone looking would be able to tell all he's doing is taking the stones that are on top of other stones, but leaving the ones that are in the earth. So no one will think you're doing it for the sake of making the earth better for planting. And
sorry, this is maybe a question about plowing, but since we're here, I guess it's only making the earth better for planting. If I was planning on doing construction,
right,
I needed to dig a hole. That's fine. I'm not.
That's fine. It's 100% fine. But once again, it has to be clear. Like you have to put some construction materials there, or wear a hard hat or something, or whatever, to make it clear.
Right.
Similarly, if there's an area that's already set aside, right? If some people, like in Eretz Yisrael, they put up signs. Here we're going to build, the B'Tzalel Academy of whatever. Then that's also fine. And also, if there's like an area that is a parking lot or a playing field for sports, or a path that people walk on, and there are stones there, then anyone who looks and sees you taking the stones, it's obvious, even the stones that are touching the earth, it's obvious that you're just taking the stones away in order that cars won't pop their tires and kids playing sports won't bang into the stones, and in order to clear the path for people walking through a forest. That's fine too, right? Because those areas are just clearly designated. Okay. That basically covers, and the same thing, like you said, for construction. What about greenhouses? Okay, so before we move to greenhouses, let's just talk for a minute about general rules in terms of potted plants. The general rule is that since the Torah says to let your field lie fallow, right? Sadcha lo tizra, says the word sadeh. So that's going to mean earth that is part of the ground. And it's also going to mean earth that is under an open sky. So if you have a plant that is inside of a house, even if you have like they used to have in the times of the Gemara, earth floor, and you're growing something there, it is only now in a year when there's real shemittah min Torah, those things that are growing inside a house or any area that is properly roofed over that blocks the sun is going to be only rabbinically prohibited. It's not what the Torah said in terms of shmita. The Torah is talking about a sadeh. That means earth that is under the open sky. In terms of potted plants, there are two types of potted plants. We're going to speak in a minute more in detail, but generally speaking, there are pots that are considered nakuv, that they have a hole in them. Any pot that has a hole in it, the Chazal consider, so long as there's nothing blocking that hole between it and the earth, even if it's high up, but so long as the only thing between it and the earth is air or other substances that we'll learn about in a few minutes, since it's considered to be a atzitz nakuv, a pierced pot that the plant is in, it's considered to draw energy from the earth. What exactly does that mean? I don't know, but it's considered to be that way halachically. It's considered to be that way on a biblical level. If shmita was deraisa, or if truma was deraisa, for many different halachas, a potted plant that has a hole in it is considered to be connected to the earth. So a potted plant with a hole, even inside the house, will still be considered connected to the earth, unless the flooring of the house is made of certain substances, as we'll discuss in a minute, such that it's considered now disconnected from the earth. But what we're left with, though, is a potted plant that does not have a hole in it, that is inside a house. There's a lot of room to be very lenient. Reb Shlomo Carlebach and many others say you can even plant a new thing on the Shemitah year in a potted plant that is indoors and that has no hole in it. Okay, but what's the definition? First of all, was that introduction clear enough? So it's okay, and hopefully it's going to become clearer as we're discussing. So what constitutes a pot that has a hole? So even the smallest hole, the halacha is to be machmir and consider it to be a potted plant with a hole. Whether that hole is at the bottom of the pot, or if even on the side, but it's on the side that is underneath the level where the earth is, that the plant is in, right? So the let's say the pot is half full with earth. So if there's even a small hole somewhere on the side of the pot that's above where the earth is, it doesn't matter. But if it's below and it's opposite where the earth would be, where the earth is, then it's considered to be a potted plant with a hole in it. Okay. Even a pot that does not have a hole. I'm sorry, 1 second. Okay. The different types of substances. In order to be considered to be a plant that is growing in a pot that doesn't have a hole, it has to be, I'm sorry, I lost my spot over here. Oh, here we go. It has to be made out of metal, glass, wood, or hard plastic. Metal, glass, wood, or hard plastic. If it has no hole, those are the substances that are considered to block the plant from being able to get energy from the earth. But
it's distinctly not like ceramic, what a normal plant pot
yeah,
is made
exactly. Exactly. So ceramic, cheres, or if it's in a plastic bag that the roots could pierce, are considered to be in a pot with a hole, because the ceramic is porous, right? So the ceramic is not considered to block the ability of the roots of the plant to get energy from the earth.
So Ashkenazim don't hold by the glass then.
What do you mean glass?
That was a kashrut joke.
Oh, yeah, right. Over here, glass is considered different from ceramic, right? Over here, glass is considered, and it doesn't make it. They don't say any difference here between Ashkenazim and Sephardim, because we're not talking about absorbing of taste in terms of kashrus. We're talking about the ability of the roots of the plant to draw energy from the earth. So glass blocks it, ceramic does not block it, nor does soft plastic. And
sorry if you said this already, but the pot itself can have soil in it?
Yeah, definitely. That's the whole idea. The pot itself can have soil in it, 100%. The Isser of Shemitah is earth. If it's a humongous potted plant, that's the size of, I think it was 650 liters. Where did I see it?
Not humongous, but yeah.
What's that?
That's not that humongous. I mean, if you have a tree, you have
Right.
indoor
Okay.
trees in pots like that.
Right. So we're machmir that if it's got 650 liters or more of earth, that we treat it as if it's in the earth and no longer in a pot, even if it's a pot made of one of these substances, because that's so much earth. If it's less than 650 liters,
So what's it like? Soccer fields.
and it's made of metal, glass, wood, or hard plastic, then we consider to be in a potted plant with no hole. So if now that potted plant with no hole is outdoors, we're still machmir, because since it's outdoors, we consider it to still be midrabanan, connected to the well, at least connected to the sky. Karka habayniv la'aretz. 1 second. Why is it that when it's outside, we're machmir? I'm just forgetting right now why. Where was that?
Is that 650 liters? That's combined. Like if it, like I'm just imagining like a hydroponic system that has like a long tube.
Right.
If that whole thing was more than 650, then it would be a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Where do they bring this in? If it's outside, outside. Just 1 second.
That was like from the very beginning. It had to be inside.
Yeah,
That's
right. I'm
not
just trying to find the source for why it's like that.
So what's with soccer fields?
Yeah.
Like that's really problematic. They can't maintain like at in Beitar Yerushalayim. They can't plant the grass, water the grass. I guess to not destroy, but they plant new grass. Like
they can't plant new grass, and they'll have to use either astroturf or they can do the minimal watering to keep what's there going.
Right, but they tear it up. They have to replace the grass every now and then.
Right. Yeah. Good question. Good point. So they
must use astroturf.
Mm-hmm.
Or they were someone from the UAE anyway was going to buy Beitar Yerushalayim. Maybe they probably just do that, just sell it.
So why is it that if it's outside? It's not cool until the Okay, I have to go back to. I'm forgetting why it is that when it's not nakuv, it's not considered. If it's really made of metal and has no hole, it's really not considered to be connected to the earth. I think it's just a din d'Rabbanan that when it's outside, the chachamim are just machmir. They created a din d'Rabbanan on a potted plant that's outside, even though it's not considered attached to the earth. Still, since it's outside, it's still similar enough that it's usher rabbinically. But where do you have a heter? Is if it's a potted plant that has no hole and it's indoors. There, Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach holds that since shemittah today is d'Rabbanan, and that's what we hold, and you have a potted plant with no hole, and it's indoors, that he says, therefore, you should be allowed to do all of even the malachas that are usher biblically, should be allowed to do. And he says this should really be true even of a greenhouse, because even though it lets light in, but it's still considered to be indoors. It's not considered to be outdoors. And so he says and the fruits that grow won't have kedushas shvis, and it's completely permissible. That's how he comes out lahalacha. Rav Vosner, the Shevet HaLevi, says that he also agrees. Meikra din, it's mutter to grow in a chamama. That's the Hebrew word for a greenhouse, a chamama, like like a hot house kind of a thing. But he says it still doesn't seem to be in consonance with what Hashem would want to grow on the Shemitah exactly the same way that things are grown all year, because the greenhouse, that's what people use all year anyway. But even so, since the way the greenhouses work is that they're indoors and they're using potted plants that have no holes, and the pots that the plants are in are made of these substances, then you're allowed to do everything, even on the Shemitah year.
To what extent does no hole mean? I understand you said that even a small hole, but let's say it had like a drainage system, that all the water drained to the bottom and then that drain went into a pipe. If that pipe then has a hole, does that retroactively mean the pot has a hole, even if the pipe is like somewhere far away?
I think so. I think so. Like we said, even the smallest hole is a problem when there is some kind of a connection between. They didn't discuss in here exactly the case of a pipe, but I have to look into that. But I think it would be a problem. Any way that they can get that the earth has kind of access, the
energetic energy, right?
Yeah, that the earth in the pot has the ability to get energy back up from the earth.
So I wonder how they do drainage then.
So good question. I'm not sure. Maybe I don't know. Yeah. So we'd have to look into that, how drainage works in a greenhouse.
I know a guy who has like a microgreens company. He says this stuff is kosher for Shemitah, so I'll ask him.
Cool, awesome. Find out for us for tomorrow, if you can, whenever you can. So now, everything that we said is only true when the plant that grows in the pot doesn't stick out over the sides. But if the branches of the pot stick out over the sides, then those branches are getting energy from the earth. And that's also a problem. Okay? So we need to make sure that they stay. And now this can be also solved if you have flooring that's made from one of those substances, right, that block it.
But height doesn't matter. I mean, if it was narrow and tall.
Right, height doesn't matter. So long as it doesn't stick out over the sides, then it doesn't. Right, getting energy from the earth is something that is a vertical thing. It doesn't exactly. So
have such kavan in our lives.
Yeah, kavan. What do you mean by that?
That like we should feel that the earth, especially Eretz Yisrael Dafka, is like giving out this energetic space to us.
Wow, amazing!
And like it's giving this energetic growth thing that all you have to do is just be over it.
Amazing.
And it could like provide you
do for you.
Energy.
That's amazing. You know, my friend was walking with Rabbi Itchy Meyer Morgenstern this past Shabbos, and he said, "Can you give me a segula for making my eyes holy, for keeping my eyes holy?" And he said, "Yeah, look down, look at the earth of Eretz Yisrael." He said, "The earth of Eretz Yisrael is bigger and holier than the sky of Chutz La'aretz." Rabbi Itchy Meyer, think about. Just look down and draw that energy from the earth of Eretz Yisrael. No, it's awesome. Now, what about if I have a potted plant with a hole, and on the Shemitah year, I want to close up the hole? Am I allowed to? Yes, no problem to close up the hole. No problem to close up the hole, because what you're doing is you're making it have less energy from the earth, right? So you're not making it thrive. However, the opposite is forbidden. You're not allowed to take a potted plant that has a hole and plug up the hole on the Shemitah year. So we have to take stock of everything we have if we have plants that are in pots, and particularly the ones that don't have a hole, and make sure that we want them to stay that way. Because if we want to make a hole in them, you have to do it before Shemitah starts.
And yeah, I guess we're just realizing now we have to be very careful when we water our potted plants that we're giving them just enough to survive, not anymore just to thrive.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Similarly, on Shemitah year, so even though we said that a pot that has a hole in it, even when it's high up, and so long as there's not any of these substances that we've mentioned blocking it between it and the earth, it's considered to be getting energy from the earth. But still, by taking it from a higher place and putting it down on the earth, it's going to get more earth energy that way. So you can't do that on Shemitah, even though it already had a hole in it and is getting energy from the earth. But since it was, let's say, hanging, and you want to now put it down on the earth on Shemitah, you're not allowed to do that because it's going to give it more energy from the earth. Similarly, if you've got a plant that's growing nice and straight and the branches are not going over the side of the pot, you can't push them over so that they'll grow over the side of the pot, because that's going to give the plant more earth access, right? Even though it's already got a hole in it, right? But spreading the branches out to the sides, those branches now are going to be able to get more earth energy off the sides. Can't do that. Magbir et nikato mehakarka. You're turning up its energy that it's getting from the earth. What about if I have one that is already on the ground and has a hole in it? So can I pick it up and then put it back down? Because once I've picked it up, it's energy that gets from the earth, it goes down. And now when I put it back down, I just made its energy from the earth go up again. It's unbelievable. Right, Gewalt. Then Reb Shlomo Zalman said that al kopanim, if it's inside, like if it's inside a house, like it's on a porch that has a roof over it, so there you can be lenient. That if let's say I have a potted plant under my roofed porch and it's sitting on the earth, I can pick it up and put it back down on Shemitah, because since it's under the roof, it's not really considered to be the sadeh. But if it would be outdoors, it's harder to allow it.
Under the roof.
Yeah.
Why would being under the roof different?
Right, because like we said before, because the sadeh, the Torah mentions not to sadcha lo tizra, don't plant your field, that the any area that is roofed over is not usher biblically. It adds another layer of rabbinicness to it. So that's more of a side to allow it. So long as, however, in a letter, they're mentioning over here, in a letter, Reb Shlomo Zalman wrote that even under the open sky, if you have a potted plant with a hole that's sitting on the earth, and you need to move it, not because of the plant, you need to move it because it's blocking a bike path or whatever it is, then you're allowed to, because since you need the place, then that's another reason, because it's you're not, since you're not doing it for the sake of making it thrive, and anyway you're picking it up for a few seconds and putting it back down. So the fact that when you picked it up, its energy level from the earth went down, and now when you put it back down, its energy level will go up. We can disregard that, since you're not doing it for the sake of adding to it. You're doing it just because you need to get from one place to another. It's blocking you or whatever it is. That's how Shlomo Zalman came out. Okay. Baruch Hashem, sorry that we started late today, but we went, I think we made up the time. I hope we made up the time. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I
Okay.
was just saying yes.
Yes, great, wonderful. So I'm going to look into the thing about wood and why having it warm you doesn't make it into Perish V's. And you will ask your friend with the micro greenhouse about how drainage works.
Doing shemittah,
If the pot that they're in still can't have a hole. So how do they do that? Maybe they, you know what I was just thinking, maybe they drain it into not onto the earth. They drain it into a basin of some kind that's made of hard plastic or something, and then they just take that out and dump it.
All right. If it drains into another, if it's connected to another pot, then it's not really open.
Right. So long as you're inside, as long as you're indoors, and the thing that it drains into never hangs over the actual earth, it just hangs over a plastic basin or something. I imagine
Right,
that's
it's all one.
Yeah.
All one container.
Yeah, but find out what he says. I'm sure he'll have interesting details as to how it's actually done today, which would be great.
For sure. Awesome.
Amazing. Shkoyach Chevra. Thank you. Pleasure again. See you tomorrow in Hashem, and sorry about today.